In this video, I'm going to show you how to draw a grid on the paper we're going to be drawing our portrait on, and then also on our portrait. Everybody will start with this step. If you're painting, you will start with this step. If you're drawing, you'll start with this step. If you're using Sharpie, you're going to start with this step. Everybody starts here. We're all going to get a big piece of paper and we're going to use it like a folder to protect our art, but I'll come back to that later. I have a picture of my self-portrait and I started doing the grid on here, and now I'm going to show you how to do that on your own picture. So with your art that you have printed out in the computer lab, I'm going to get the camera closer here, you are going to start by drawing a 1-inch grid over your picture. So when you're using a ruler, I'm going to show you two different rulers so you guys can see the marks that I'm talking about. It's really important that you are lining up your ruler on the mark where it notes that it is 1 inch. So not the end of the ruler. If I start by making marks at the end of my ruler, it's actually going to be slightly larger than 1 inch because there's this little tiny space right here that is not part of this measurement. So the long lines on your ruler are 1 inch. Make sure that you're marking them. So I'm going to show you on this ruler too. Notice the same thing. The end of the ruler is not the inch mark, this long line is. So on this paper, we're going to start by lining up our ruler with the edge. Notice how I didn't do the edge of the ruler to the edge of the picture. I lined up that line that says 0. And I'm going to make a mark, just like a little dot, at every single inch. All the way across. Now I'm going to go down here to the bottom and I'm going to do the same thing. What's really important about this is if you start on the left-hand side of your picture, you must start on the left-hand side of your picture down here. Let me zoom out a little bit. If you start making your lines from up here and you start over here at the bottom, you're going to have diagonal lines. We're not trying to make diagonal lines, we're trying to make straight lines. So I'm going to go down here and line up my ruler the same way I did up top. Make sure that mark is where it's supposed to be, not the end of the ruler. And I'm going to make little marks. It's probably hard to see the marks I'm making on the camera, but I'm just making one at every inch. Okay, now I'm going to turn my paper on its side. And I think the easiest way to do this is to put your pencil on the mark that you made. Hold your ruler there, okay? Now go down to this side of your paper and tilt your ruler until it is touching the other mark that you made. You really want to make sure that your ruler is touching both of those marks. I know this is hard to see on camera, but you can take a look at my example in the classroom if you need to, if that would help you out. So I'm always checking that my ruler is touching both marks before I start drawing. Take your time and line things up. If these lines get wiggly, your picture is going to be a little bit wiggly as well. Okay, if you don't have 1 inch at the edge of your picture, it's no big deal. We're going to end up cropping this a little bit. Okay, so now for the next step, I'm still using the inches side of my ruler, and I'm going to line up that 0 line, not the end of my ruler, the 0 line, with the top of my picture. I'm going to start making a mark at every single inch. Okay, do the same thing on this side. Remember, if you started making your marks at the top, you're going to continue to make them at the top. Always start from the same place. So if you started on the top on the left, you start on the top on the right. I'm going to go down and make my marks. Okay, same thing. Put your pencil on the mark you made, line up your ruler so it touches both spots. Take your time so you have nice straight lines. Okay, when you get to this part and you have all your grid lines drawn, start at the top left-hand corner and give yourself letters across the top, just how we did on our practice drawing, and numbers down the side. This will help you when we get to the next step, which I will show you in another video.